Honestly, it taught me to trust God more. Before fine arts, I didn't really know my gift. And then I tried writing because my friend told me that I should. And then I won first. And I realized that God actually gave me a gift for writing. And honestly, it just taught me to trust God more because He really knows what's best. And He knows exactly like my calling and just trust Him more.
It definitely changed me in many ways. So I used to live in Maryland, and in Maryland I grew up surrounded by like fine arts and just the whole environment in general. But then COVID hit, and then I wasn't able to do it. But then coming to Florida, and this church got changed into Assemblies of God Church, I was able to be surrounded in that environment of fine arts and competing again. And I competed. This is my second year competing. Last year I did districts, and then this year I did districts and nationals. And it was honestly very, very impactful in my spiritual life and just me in general, like in every single way, because not only did I just step out of my comfort zone, I absolutely do not like talking in front of people, like presenting something. So being able to do a short sermon, last year I did a short sermon, this year I did a short sermon, and then I did a dance, and that was just I cried a lot. I did cry a lot because it was just very crazy to me. Like, I couldn't believe I was doing it, and that, like, I don't even know what the Lord is calling me to do, but even just taking that step of faith and just trying multiple things is just, like, coming out of your comfort zone, and it makes you grow as a person spiritually and mentally. You just get to grow, and doing it with other people, you get to grow with them and just see, like, how much, like, from last year to this year, how much you've been able to just use God's word and, like, take that to heart and then be able to, like, translate it to other people.
Fine arts really impacted not just me as a person, but my walk with the Lord in a number of ways. I had never done fine arts before until this year. It was my very first year, and I did a hip-hop dance with Sophie. And I've never danced a day in my life. I was a gymnast for like 8.5 years. And I never really thought that I was good at dancing until we started practicing a couple months in advance. But God just kind of showed me that, like, there is something inside of me that I didn't know that I had, and I'm actually good at other things that aren't gymnastics. And so I think that just really opened several doors for me, really, just showing me that, oh, I can do things that I haven't tried before. So I think that that impacted me spiritually because I just really had to trust God and know that He has a plan for my life.
So this is my second year doing fine arts. Last year I just went to districts, and this year we ended up going to districts and nationals, and both years I've competed in the category short sermon. The first year that I competed, I didn't know what category I wanted to do because I'm not musically inclined at all, and that's honestly all that I thought it was. But once I found out there was speaking, at first I hated speaking in front of people, like it terrified me, and then I did it, and I found out that I was actually gifted in that area and that that's something that God's called me to. My whole life, I've wanted to be a vet. I've been involved in FFA, I've raised animals. I was about to start an internship at a vet clinic in our community, but because of fine arts, it completely changed the trajectory of my life. God actually called me into ministry, and I realized and accepted that call this year in nationals, actually. At one of the services, they had an altar call for if you felt called to ministry, and I went up, and it was the first time that I knew for the past probably 2 years that that's what God was calling me to do, but this year I just really accepted that, and it was the first time I took that step of faith into saying this is what I'm called to do. And it's just been a long journey of learning to trust the Lord, because I had all these plans for my life, but learning that God is going to direct our steps, and it's not in our own strength, but it's in His. No matter how scary it is, knowing that He has a plan for you. So really it just impacted me in the way of learning to trust Him more and more.
So I went to nationals, but at districts, I hurt myself. I'm sorry. So I went to nationals, but I didn't compete because at districts, I tore my ACL doing a skill that I've had since I was literally 10 years old, but it's fine. So I still went because I had already committed and signed up to going. Prior to actually going, I made the decision to go because my friends were going, and I thought it would be good for me just to see the other levels of all the categories and things like that. But I think Nationals was definitely one of the funnest experiences I think I've ever had. Just being able to go out of state with like our fine arts directors and my friends. That was also kind of an adventure in itself. But I also think that like waking up and having a plan as to like what we were gonna do every single day, like waking up excited like for the day because we were gonna go watch this person do a human video or like this person sing or this person preach. Like I thought that was just really fun, being able to see how people were utilizing the gifts that God placed in them.
So at districts, for first rounds, I was very nervous just because it was my goal. It wasn't my only goal wasn't to get a call back, but it was something that I really wanted. And so I was very nervous going into first rounds to be able to achieve that. But really, even just in first rounds, just hearing the feedback from the judges of how to improve my gifting, and that's really what it was all about. Before I even found out that I got a call back to the second rounds at districts, like I was just so happy with how God used me and how he spoke through me, because once I surrendered everything to him, all the nerves just fell away when I got up there. But then making callbacks was also amazing. Getting to speak in front of that many people was terrifying, but I also knew at that point it was really just about having fun, because I wasn't worried about winning. Like I really didn't even think that I could place top 3. I ended up getting 3rd place, but I didn't even think that was possible. So I just went out there and had fun using the gifts that God gave me, and it was definitely a confidence booster. Going into nationals, I ended up getting a second round callback. At first rounds in nationals, I got more critical feedback that I could actually apply compared to districts where they gave me feedback, but it was more just things that I did well. But at nationals, they told me things I could improve on, which is really what I was looking for, because I know my gift isn't fully developed. And you never arrive with your relationship with the Lord. It's a constant growing in that area throughout the entirety of your life, but just learning ways that I can grow and continue to develop my gifting, especially because I've only been using it for like 2 years. I didn't even know that was a gift that I had. So at nationals, having that more critical feedback was really helpful for me, knowing in a way that I can grow next year.
Definitely a level of more seriousness and more like I actually have to lock in and do good. Districts was more like, okay, I'm having fun, I can kind of loosen up a little bit, but then national was like, this is serious, like people are actually gonna start taking down like the way I speak, the way I worded things, like the structure of my short sermon. So it was definitely much more scary. Yeah.
At districts, I was kind of like a little nervous because I didn't know anyone. I didn't really have like a lot of friends before I went there, because it was like I was pretty new to the church. And then when I went to fine arts, I met a lot of people there. I made a lot of new friends. And then at nationals, I had a lot more friends there, so it was more like a funner experience for me, and you could feel like the presence of God there. It was just, nationals was amazing. So yeah.
I am, and I have. It's definitely something I feel like you need to do, even though it's something scary and very uncomfortable. It's just that step of faith, like to just grow.
Yes, for sure. I would go to fine arts. Please go to fine arts.
Oh, for sure. There's so many of my friends that I just see giftings in them that maybe they don't see in themselves, and I've definitely pointed that out and recommended fine arts to them, because like I said, it's completely changed the trajectory of my life. I went from wanting to be a vet and having a farm and all these things to now wanting to go into ministry. So surrendering to God and using your gifts for him instead of for yourself and for your own plans that you have is truly life-changing, and it just brings so much peace knowing that he's going to direct each and every step. So I definitely would recommend to anybody to do fine arts, even if you don't find your gifting or your calling the first time that you do a category. Just experiencing all the different things and the ways that God can use people, and then also the community that comes from it. I've made some of my best friends and gone deeper in relationships because of fine arts. So yes, I definitely would recommend fine arts to anybody.
Absolutely. I think that fine arts really will open doors for you if you have no idea what it is that God has called you to do. I think that it can really help you figure it out, or at least narrow it down. I had a lot of fun, and I know that my friends had a ton of fun as well, and I hope that we can get as many people as possible.